Pay attention to the woman in the blue windbreaker. Her name is Vanessa Caldwell, 26 years old, a graduate student in environmental science at Portland State University. It's 7:14 a.m. on October 3rd, 2024. She's alone on the Wildwood Trail in Forest Park, Oregon's largest urban wilderness, 5,000 acres of dense forest, just minutes from downtown Portland. She's carrying a field notebook and a camera. She's here to document seasonal plant variations for her thesis. She told her roommate she'd be back by noon. Now, pay attention to the man approximately 40 yards behind her, wearing a dark green jacket and carrying a backpack. His name is Abebe Wolde, 39 years old, an Ethiopian immigrant who worked at a local landscaping company. He'd been terminated 3 weeks earlier for erratic behavior and threatening a female coworker. Within 2 hours, Vanessa's phone would ping its last tower. Within 4 hours, her roommate would file a missing persons report. Within 6 days, a park ranger would find her camera, lens shattered, memory card missing, at the bottom of a ravine 3 miles from the trail. Vanessa Caldwell had come to study nature. She'd walked into something far more dangerous. Vanessa had been planning this field study for weeks. Early October offered ideal conditions: morning light, cooler temperatures, seasonal transitions in the understory vegetation. She'd mapped a 4-mile loop that would take her through old-growth forest, along Balch Creek, and back via the lower trail system. She was methodical. Her field kit included GPS, water, emergency whistle, first aid supplies, and a fully charged phone. She'd texted her roommate, Katie Chen, before leaving their apartment in northwest Portland, heading to Forest Park, back by lunch. Text if you need anything. Katie would later tell investigators she wasn't worried. Vanessa hiked alone frequently. She was experienced, prepared, and familiar with the park. At 7:02 a.m., Vanessa's car, a silver Honda Civic, was captured on a traffic camera turning onto Northwest Thurman Street toward the lower Maclay Park trailhead. At 7:11 a.m., she signed the voluntary trail register at the parking area. Her handwriting was clear and confident. V. Caldwell, Wildwood Trail Loop, solo. 3 minutes later, at 7:14 a.m., she passed a motion-activated wildlife camera mounted by researchers studying urban coyote populations. The camera captured her moving north on the trail, notebook in hand, looking down at her phone, likely checking her GPS coordinates. 43 seconds later, the same camera captured Abebe Wolde. Abebe Wolde had arrived in the United States in 2011 as a refugee from Ethiopia. He'd worked various jobs: restaurant dishwasher, warehouse worker, landscaping crew member. He was quiet, kept to himself, sent money back to family in Addis Ababa. But something had changed in recent months. Co-workers at Green Valley Landscaping described increasingly erratic behavior. He'd developed fixations on certain female clients. He'd been warned twice about making inappropriate comments. On September 12th, he'd followed a co-worker, 23-year-old intern Angela Ruiz, to her car after work. She reported feeling threatened. He was fired the next day. After his termination, neighbors in his northeast Portland apartment building noticed him leaving early in the morning carrying a large backpack. He'd return hours later, sometimes after dark. One neighbor, Teresa Vega, would later tell police she'd seen him studying maps, topographic maps of Forest Park. On October 3rd, Wolde's car, a white 2008 Toyota Camry, was captured on the same traffic camera as Vanessa's, 7 minutes behind her. He parked 4 spaces away from her Honda. He did not sign the trail register. At 7:14 a.m., he followed her onto the Wildwood Trail. At 8:47 a.m., Vanessa's phone pinged the cell tower on Northwest Cornell Road, consistent with her location deep in the park's northern section. It would be the last ping. At 12:30 p.m., Katie Chen sent a text. "How's the research going?" No response. At 2:15 p.m., Katie called, straight to voicemail. At 4 p.m., Katie drove to the trailhead. Vanessa's Honda was still there. Katie walked a quarter mile up the trail, calling her name. Nothing. At 4:47 p.m., Katie called 911. Portland Police Bureau and Portland Parks and Recreation Rangers responded immediately. By 6 p.m., search teams were on the trails. By nightfall, they'd covered the planned route. No sign of Vanessa Caldwell. Her phone was off. Her GPS was dead. She had vanished into 5,000 acres of wilderness. Search and rescue operations intensified on Friday, October 4th. 50 volunteers, police K-9 units, and a helicopter with thermal imaging equipment combed the park. They found nothing. Detective Maria Santos, Portland Police Bureau's Missing Persons Unit, took lead on the case. Santos was experienced, 15 years, dozens of cases. But something about this disappearance felt wrong. Vanessa was experienced in wilderness navigation. She had emergency supplies. The weather had been clear. There was no reason for her to be lost or injured in such a way that she couldn't call for help or activate her emergency whistle. Santos pulled Vanessa's phone records. The last ping at 8:47 a.m. placed her approximately 2.8 miles into her planned route, near a trail junction close to the Wildwood Life-Erickson intersection. Then, nothing. Santos also pulled security footage from the Trailhead parking area. She watched Vanessa arrive at 7:11 a.m. She watched her sign the register and head up the trail. Then she saw something that changed everything. 7 minutes after Vanessa, a white Toyota Camry entered the lot. A man in a dark green jacket emerged. He did not approach the trail register. He pulled a large backpack from his trunk. He adjusted something inside the jacket. Santos couldn't tell what. He glanced around the parking area. Then he walked quickly toward the trail entrance. Santos ran the license plate. The car was registered to Abebe Wolde. By Saturday, October 5th, investigators had obtained Wolde's employment records from Green Valley Landscaping. They learned about the termination. They learned about Angela Ruiz's complaint. They interviewed Angela. She described Wolde's behavior as obsessive. He'd asked personal questions. He'd commented on her appearance. After she reported him, he'd sent her a Facebook message. "You don't know what you've done." Angela had blocked him immediately. Santos obtained a warrant for Wolde's digital devices. The forensic team worked through the weekend. What they found was chilling. Wolde's laptop contained hundreds of images, screenshots from social media accounts of young women in the Portland area. He'd organized them into folders by location. One folder was labeled Forest Park. Inside that folder, 17 images of women hiking alone. Each image included notes, estimated age, physical description, frequency of posts about hiking. Each image had been saved between June and September 2024. One of those images showed Vanessa Caldwell on the Wildwood Trail, taken from her own Instagram post dated August 12th. The caption, "Morning research session in my favorite urban forest." Nothing beats fieldwork before the city wakes up. Wolde had bookmarked the post. On Monday, October 7th, a research team from Portland State University checked their wildlife cameras in Forest Park. They routinely reviewed footage every 2 weeks as part of their urban coyote study. One camera had captured something unexpected. At 7:14 a.m. on October 3rd, Vanessa Caldwell walking north on the trail. At 7:43 a.m., Abebe Wolde, 40 yards behind her. At 8:52 a.m., Wolde, alone, walking south on the same trail. His backpack looked heavier. There was a dark stain on his green jacket. Vanessa did not appear in any subsequent footage. The research team immediately contacted Portland police. Detective Santos viewed the footage at 2 p.m. that afternoon. The timeline was clear. Wolde had followed Vanessa into the park. Approximately 90 minutes later, he returned alone. Vanessa never came back. Santos obtained an arrest warrant for Abebe Wolde. At 6:15 a.m. on Tuesday, October 8th, a tactical team surrounded Wolde's apartment building on N.E. Prescott Street. Detective Santos, 2 other detectives, and 4 uniformed officers approached his second-floor unit. Santos knocked. "Portland Police, we have a warrant for Abebe Wolde." No response. Santos knocked again. "Mr. Wolde, we know you're inside. Open the door." 45 seconds of silence. Then the sound of a deadbolt. The door opened 6 inches. Wolde stood in the doorway wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. His expression was blank. "Abebe Wolde, you're under arrest for suspicion of kidnapping and assault," Santos said. "Turn around and put your hands behind your back." Wolde did not move. He stared at Santos for several seconds. Then, slowly, he turned around and placed his hands behind his back. The apartment was small. One bedroom, kitchenette, bathroom. It was meticulously organized. In the bedroom closet, officers found the dark green jacket from the surveillance footage. In the pocket, Vanessa's student ID card. In the bathroom, dried blood in the shower drain. In the kitchen, topographic maps of Forest Park spread across the small table. 3 locations were circled in red ink. One was near the Wildwood Erickson intersection. Another was along Balch Creek. The third was near an area known as the Maple Trail Ravine. Steep terrain, dense vegetation, rarely traveled. Where is Vanessa Caldwell? Wolde said nothing. Abebe Wolde sat in interview room 2 at Portland Police Central Precinct. Detective Santos and Detective Ryan Harding sat across from him. The interrogation began at 9:30 a.m. For 6 hours, Santos and Harding presented the evidence: the wildlife camera footage, the digital files, the jacket with Vanessa's ID, the maps, the blood. Wolde sat motionless. He did not speak. He did not ask for water. He did not ask for a lawyer. At 3 p.m., Santos leaned forward. "Abebe, we know you followed Vanessa Caldwell into Forest Park. We know something happened on that trail. We know she never came back. We need to know where she is. Her family needs to know. Help us find her." Wolde looked at Santos. For the first time in 6 hours, he spoke. His voice was quiet, accent thick. "I want lawyer." The interrogation stopped. Through his court-appointed attorney, Wolde offered a deal. He would reveal Vanessa's location in exchange for considerations in sentencing. The Multnomah County District Attorney's Office refused. There would be no deals. The search intensified. On Wednesday, October 9th, search teams focused on the 3 locations marked on Wolde's maps. The first 2 sites, the Wildwood Erickson intersection and the Balch Creek area, yielded nothing. At 2:30 p.m., a search and rescue dog named Ranger, a German Shepherd trained in cadaver detection, alerted near the Maple Trail Ravine. The terrain was treacherous, a steep slope covered in dense ferns, fallen logs, and blackberry brambles. 50 feet down the slope, nearly invisible from the trail, was a disturbed area. The team descended carefully. At 3:15 p.m., they found Vanessa Caldwell's camera. The lens was shattered. The memory card was missing. It had been deliberately destroyed. 15 feet further down, they found her field notebook. Water damaged, but readable. The last entry, dated October 3rd, 7:42 a.m. Impressive Douglas fir specimen, approximately 200 years old. Evidence of pileated woodpecker activity. At 4:02 p.m., they found Vanessa. She was partially buried under leaves and forest debris. She was face down. Her blue windbreaker was torn. There was severe trauma to the back of her head. Her hands showed defensive wounds. Vanessa Caldwell had fought for her life. The medical examiner determined that Vanessa had died from blunt force trauma to the skull, consistent with being struck multiple times with a heavy object, likely a rock, several of which were found at the scene with blood spatter. The time of death was estimated between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. on October 3rd. DNA evidence from under Vanessa's fingernails matched Abebe Wolde. Blood on Wolde's jacket matched Vanessa's blood type. Further testing confirmed it was her blood. The forensic team analyzed Wolde's boots. Soil samples matched the composition of soil in the Maple Trail Ravine. Plant matter embedded in the boot treads, specific species of ferns and moss, were consistent with vegetation at the burial site. Wolde's backpack, recovered from his apartment, contained rope, duct tape, zip ties, and a folding knife. None of these items had been used. The attack had been impulsive, not premeditated as a kidnapping. The materials suggested he'd planned to take her alive. The digital forensics team reconstructed Wolde's movements. Between June and September, he'd hiked Forest Park 23 times. Each time, he'd posted photos of trails and locations on a private Instagram account that had no followers. The photos served as a personal database, scouting locations. On October 2nd, the day before Vanessa's murder, Wolde had searched Google for "How long before missing person declared dead?" and Oregon murder sentencing guidelines. He'd known what he was going to do. The state of Oregon charged Abebe Wolde with aggravated murder, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. The trial began on March 4th, 2025, in Multnomah County Circuit Court. The prosecution, led by Deputy District Attorney Rachel Thornburg, presented the evidence methodically: the wildlife camera footage, the digital stalking, the physical evidence, the burial site. The case was overwhelming. The defense, led by Public Defender Martin Reese, argued diminished capacity. Wolde had experienced severe trauma as a refugee. He'd witnessed violence in Ethiopia. He'd struggled with untreated PTSD and depression. He'd been isolated, unemployed, spiraling. Reese did not dispute that Wolde killed Vanessa Caldwell. He argued that Wolde was mentally ill and that his actions, while criminal, were not the result of a calculating mind, but a broken one. The prosecution countered with the evidence of planning: the scouting trips, the digital surveillance, the prepared backpack, the search history. Thornburg's closing argument was direct. Trauma may explain behavior. It does not excuse it. It does not justify it. Vanessa Caldwell was a 26-year-old woman pursuing her education, contributing to science, living her life. Abebe Wolde took that from her. He stalked her. He followed her. He killed her. And he tried to hide what he'd done. That is not the act of someone who cannot control himself. That is the act of someone who knows exactly what he's doing and chooses to do it anyway. The jury deliberated for 8 hours, guilty on all counts. On April 22, 2025, Abebe Wolde was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Before the sentence was handed down, Vanessa's mother, Carol Caldwell, addressed the court. She spoke for 4 minutes. She did not cry. She described Vanessa's childhood, her passion for the natural world, her dedication to her research. She described the day she learned her daughter was missing. She described identifying Vanessa's body. She looked directly at Wolde. "You took my daughter from this world. You took her future. You took her joy. You took everything. And for what? Because you wanted to? Because you could? That's not human. That's not forgivable." Wolde sat motionless. He did not look at Carol Caldwell. He did not speak. Judge Patricia Lawson handed down the sentence. "Mr. Wolde, you committed an act of profound violence against an innocent person. You stalked her. You hunted her. You killed her. You showed no remorse. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. That is the consequence of what you have done." Wolde was led out of the courtroom. He did not look back. Vanessa's research was published posthumously in the Journal of Urban Ecology in June 2025. Her thesis advisor, Dr. Linda Marquez, completed the final edits using Vanessa's field notes and data. The paper, titled "Seasonal Variation in Understory Plant Communities in Urban Forest Ecosystems," was dedicated to her memory. Carol Caldwell established the Vanessa Caldwell Memorial Fund to support female graduate students in environmental science. As of 2026, the fund has awarded scholarships to 12 students. In November 2025, Portland Parks and Recreation installed new emergency call boxes along major trails in Forest Park. The system allows hikers to contact park rangers or 911 with the push of a button. The first call box was installed at the Wildwood Life Erickson intersection, close to where Vanessa was last seen alive. Angela Ruiz, the coworker who reported Wolde's harassment, testified at the trial. She later spoke publicly about the importance of reporting threatening behavior, even when it feels minor or ambiguous. Her testimony contributed to new workplace safety training protocols at Green Valley Landscaping and other companies in the Portland area. Katie Chen, Vanessa's roommate, graduated from Portland State in 2025. She no longer hikes alone. 2 years after Vanessa's death, Carol Caldwell returned to Forest Park. She walked the Wildwood Trail to the Maple Trail Junction. She did not go down the ravine. Instead, she placed a small bronze plaque on a Douglas fir near the trail, one of the trees Vanessa had documented in her research. The plaque reads, "In memory of Vanessa Caldwell, 1998 to 2024, environmental scientist, daughter, friend. She loved this forest." Carol stood there for several minutes. The forest was quiet. Morning light filtered through the canopy. It was the kind of morning Vanessa would have loved. Carol turned and walked back down the trail. She did not look back. Vanessa Caldwell came to Forest Park to study life. She found death instead. But her work continues. Her memory endures. And the forest she loved remains. A testament to what she valued and what was taken from her. That's what matters most.